So equally for everyone, welcome and happy to have so many people online today with us. So today we have a topic with the Innovation Support Services Toolbox, which will be presented by our dear colleagues Marlene and Melanie, and with some great testimonies from all around Europe. Not all around, but in few places. So let's have a look at the agenda, which I almost already told you. So we will start with the going through the toolbox, what it is, where you can find it, and how you can use it. And then after that, we will have 3 testimonies with Klaus, Neil, and Marcus. Then in the end part of the webinar, we will call you to be active as well in our project work and with the toolbox. And then you will hear in the end a bit of the next coming webinar, and we would like to hear your experiences in the comments as well. Questions can be asked in between. Just raise your hand if you feel like that you want to jump in and comment or have a question. But we will also have a dedicated time for the questions. So let's keep this quite relaxed and hopefully interesting for everyone. So let's get going. Anna can present our project ATTRACTISS, that you all know why we are, or who is behind, or which project is behind the organizing the webinar.
So yeah, thank you, Maria. This is so nice to see so many of you today, especially because ATTRACTISS is one of those projects that if you're part of it, we're really enjoying it, not only because of the great team that's behind, but also because of all the opportunities that we have. Let me just really fastly mute some of us sort of like a little bit. There we go. So this is going to be super brief because I know that you're not particularly necessarily fascinated to know ATTRACTISS, but hopefully these 2 slides I'm about to present are going to change your perspective. So the goal of ATTRACTISS, one of the nicest things about this project is that it's extremely practical. So our goal is just to, as you can read there, improve and embed competencies, approaches, instruments, and governance models. So no, it's a lot, but it can be done for innovation support services. And just in case you're not that acquainted with the concept, for us, innovation support services are all the services that support farmers in exploring and implementing innovation on the ground. It can be at any stage on the process. It can be at different ways. It could be helping them get the idea right. It could be helping them find the right funding. It could be helping them get the project out of the ground. If you do any of those things, welcome. You're an innovation support service. We want you in. And so the whole goal of doing this, as you can see there, is actually to make sure that grassroots ideas come to the fore and help us make sustainable agriculture and forestry the norm across Europe. Now, it sounds very pretty, but how do we do it? And again, it's about being super, super practical. It's about making sure that you can improve your skills, you can get inspired to innovate, and you can share your knowledge. And to do that, what we're doing basically is making sure that you can access lots of events. As you can see there, we have the 27 member states being invited to participate in our network, where we're going to bring together 430 people that we want to train. Everybody's invited to our trainings. We're always putting the information out there, and we'll be happy to share it with you. So those are 2-day trainings that you can come, join, and get your soft skills ready for use. Very practical. We also have the webinars. We will be doing cross visits. We will be doing in-person things. And we're also inviting you to participate on our occasional events where we try to gather your knowledge. Now, there's a lot happening. So how do you get in touch with us, or how do you get involved? And the best way is to go to this great platform that we've developed with our sibling project called modernAKIS, where you can join all the group of ISS across Europe. You can actually find where they are and who they are in this little interactive map that we've created. We have all the events are going to be in our event page. And amazingly, what we're going to be talking about today It's all about the tools that we can provide you to make it happen. And that's what we're exploring today. So with no further ado, we just want you to invite you to explore what we're going to be talking today. Marlene, this was your goal. So off you go. And if you're interested in ATTRACTISS or ATTRACTISS Connect, I'll put the link in the chat and we'll also share it afterwards. But you can always come to any of us and ask for further information. Marlene, your time to shine. Or
Just
Marie, are you introducing
quickly.
our guests?
Yeah, it's,
We didn't remember to present ourselves.
That's a good point. Sorry, I'm Anna, and I'm with the Scottish team, and I work very closely with Marlene and Melanie and the capacity building side of things for ATTRACTISS.
Yeah, and my name is Maria Suomela, and I'm coming from ProAgria Finland. We are an advisory organization, part of the ATTRACTISS project as well.
And my name is Melanie van Rij. With Marleen, I work for Boerenbond Projects. We are consultants for the largest farmer union in Belgium. And with Marleen, I'm going to present a bit about our responsibility in the project. So we're going to talk about the toolbox. Our responsibility is to develop a toolbox with 100 tools and methods for ISS to support farmers in realizing their innovative ideas. And how do we do this? First, I wanted to show this slide. Here you see the innovation process, as you may have seen already many times, or maybe not. You can have, a farmer could have an initial idea, but he needs some information. So he goes looking for inspiration, maybe gets information from other farmers from elsewhere. Then he wants to do some planning, maybe looking for budget. Then he's going to develop his idea, start testing. If the test is successful, he will realize his innovation. He will start talking about it, sharing the results, and it will become embedded in his daily practice, but also in the industry that he's working in. For us, it was very important that if we develop 100 tools and methods, we wanted to have tools and methods for each phase in this innovation process. But we started more spontaneously. So what did we do to start collecting all those tools and methods? During the kickoff meeting of ATTRACTISS many years ago, no, a few years ago, we organized a workshop and asked the partners in the project, what tools and methods do you know to capture dreams and ideas from farmers? And so spontaneously, people wrote a lot of post-its, and we got our first answers. But when we started to analyze those answers, they were very different answers. There was a lot of answers with food involved, food and drinks, because it's normal that when you put a lot of people together, farmers included, you get a lot of talk and people are going to share more easily their ideas. Other people in the consortium mentioned you need trust from farmers, or you need to speak the same language as the farmer. Also very important things, but not exactly what we were looking for. We were really looking for tools and methods, methodologies, and tangible things like brochures or games or other means really to move a farmer from one phase in this innovation spiral to the next. And the other things were also very important, but we thought of them more as a condition, like you need to have trust to be able to apply a tool or method with farmers, or food and drinks can always help as a setting to apply a certain tool or method to work with farmers. So we took all that into consideration, but we really asked from then on, please provide us with tools and methods. And we started in our own organization. We organized a workshop for our own team. And we said, okay, we need tools and methods from you that you already use in your work with farmers to help them to get from one phase in the spiral to the next. And what's in it for you is that you, in the end, you will have access to a very big toolbox, which you can use, and you can find probably a lot of new tools and methods to use with farmers, because it's good to vary a bit and to search for new means to help them realize their ideas. So we divided our team in groups, and we said, okay, this group will look for tools and methods to help farmers from an initial idea to the inspiration phase, or this group will think of tools and methods that they use to help farmers from planning to realization. And Marlene and I fed them a lot of cake. Food and drink really helps. And this was the result. So they were very active, photo on the left. And so we got like maybe 40 rough tools and methods from our team. And we were very excited about this. So we explained our methodology to the partners in the consortium and asked them if they could also organize workshops in their country and with their own team to get more tools and methods. And this happened for a lot of partners. And in the end, we had a lot of input, which Marlene will show later. And it looks a bit like this in the beginning. But we added some things like how much time do you need for this method to prepare? What material do you need? So what phase do you use it in? Is it for a group of farmers or is it for a single farmer? Those questions we asked, and we tried to complete those the input as much as possible. And then I think Marlene will take over from now to explain more about the toolbox and where you can find all the tools and methods.
Yes, thank you, Melanie. As Melanie has said before, I'm Marleen, and I'm a colleague of Melanie and also of Nele, who will give a testimony later in this webinar. So, as Melanie said, we have created a toolbox, and at this point we have almost 80 tools and methods in the ATTRACTISS Toolbox, which is uploaded or integrated on the AKIS Connect platform. And Anna was so kind to share the link in the chat already. So please, after this webinar, explore the toolbox and give us your feedback, but we will come to that later. So you go to the akisconnect.eu platform, and hopefully you have all registered as a member, but it's not necessary to get to the toolbox. So you go to the Learn and Apply section, and then the toolkit, and then the ISS tools and methods. And then you will find this page with the tools and methods. You will see a filter on the left side, on the left box, so you can, as I said, almost 80, and the aim is to have 100 by the end of the month, which is a lot. So you can filter by phase, support to farmers, is it to one farmer, a group of farmer, preparation time, execution time, which makes it easier to sort and filter, of course. Be aware that it's still work in progress, and it will be so for the next years, I suppose, because we always find better ways to explain the tool. We will also add some practical examples of practical use. For instance, many of you know, but we need to produce a lot of practice abstracts in those Horizon projects, and we have asked the partners to write practice abstracts with examples of practical use of specific tools and methods they use in their daily work. So those kind of things will be added to the toolbox continuously, probably. And also, when you give feedback, we will integrate this feedback in the toolbox. So almost 80 at the moment, 100 by the end of the month, but work in progress. How can you use this toolbox? And we will give some examples, some cases of real situations in your work. For example, case one, you want to support a group of farmers with initial ideas and inspiration, and you say, okay, it may require some planning and execution time. You really want to look outside the box, and because it's about inspiration and ideas, you want to mobilize a warm network. You need to have some people around you. Okay, what do? You go to the toolbox, you select in the left box the phases, initial idea to inspiration, inspiration to planning. You think, yeah, that's a wise thing to do, and then support a group of farmers. And you can also select preparation time. And then a lot of, you have some resulting tools and methods, of course. And here are some examples like the golden circle or the inspiration bus trip. Both are intended to support a group of farmers when they have an initial idea. So this is the way you can use it. Another example is, okay, you want to support a specific individual farmer with the development of an idea. You go to the left filter box and you select the phases and then the support to farmers. Now it's a one-on-one support. And these are some other examples that come out as a result, like the advisory board or the value proposition canvas. And the latter is really a tool. And then you can see also, it's not just an image, but it's really a kind of template you can use when you use this tool. A last example is, okay, we have been talking about support to farmers, but of course the tools and methods can also be applied when you want to support other organizations or people, like, for example, you want to support advisors within your own organization or within a community of practice. I see lots of people from modernAKIS here, and we have a community of practice when they encounter challenges in advising farmers. Again, maybe looking outside the box, and we also have these I2Connect tools, which some of you are familiar with. Again, you use the left box for filtering, and here are some of the I2Connect tools that come out, like peer consultation and the circle of coherence. And we can talk about many other tools, of course, but time is short and we want to give some of our guests the word later on to give a testimony of their own work. So as a wrap up, so the ATTRACTISS Toolbox, you can find it on akisconnect.eu, and we're really aiming it to be your go-to place to get inspired. We are open for collaborations and welcome absolutely your feedback. And this is also kind of synthesis of the next steps that we will do, that reach out to other projects, to other organizations, to other countries who are not in the ATTRACTISS project. It's a platform, so if you say, okay, we have developed in our project a lot of tools and methods that can be suitable for ATTRACTISS Toolbox, please reach out. But Melanie will call to action later again. And then I give now the word to our first guest, Klaus. Klaus, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Klaus Wagner from the Federal Institute of Agricultural Economics and Regional Development in Austria. We are a research institute of the Ministry for Agriculture in Austria and do work, a lot of work directly for the ministry, but we are also engaged in international and national cooperation projects, mostly European Union projects. And this is also what I want to talk about today. These are the outcomes of the Horizon 2020 project LIVRUR, which ran from 2018 to 2020, I think, yes. And one part of this was the development of a business model concept. It was called RAIN and should be a living lab concept for circular economy, cooperation and innovation in rural regions. So the next slide, yes, it works. I hope you see it. For sure, you know all the challenges of the rural regions. I have here only some keywords, more costs than in central regions, low profitability, often the economy of scales are difficult, low population densities, outmigration, brain drain, lacking of infrastructure, and a low number of human resources, and so on and so on. And often we have a high share of agriculture, forestry, and so on. And this means often, at least in Austria, small enterprises with high dependency on weather and climate conditions. So we had to develop a concept and the objectives which came out in the delivery project, which were discussed in the delivery projects with all the partners. It should be the creation of a new viable business model in a rural context, which merges the living lab approach and the circular economy theory. And it should provide a structured approach for developing a business or a project or any initiative in rural regions. So it was not only for businesses, but for all initiatives. And it should lead people from creativity processes to an operative action plan. So there were the high demands on the project, on this concept, and the result was a more or less high complexity of it. We wanted to make it as simple as possible, but the demands were very high. The next slide. Yes, this was the result. The RAIN concept we developed has 3 layers. At first, the RAIN core elements, we called them core elements, and we gave them the shape of a jigsaw puzzle to express that every piece of this puzzle depends and is connected to all the other puzzles. So these are more or less the chapters of a business model. In the center is the vision and the business idea you have to develop, and then all the other parts you have to be clear about the resources. At first, you have to, for sure, you have to have an idea what product or service or procedures you want to offer. You have to be clear about the people who you should involve, the management, organization, and all these things should be clear. Of course, also the financial aspects and how to implement and develop it, but also a part of research and innovation should be included. A second layer was then the so-called RAIN principles, which were developed in the course of the project with all the project partners. And there we had the topics of social, ecological, and economic sustainability. Open innovation should be a topic, of course, also a modern information and communication technology. Stakeholder involvement, openness should be a focus on, and also the circular economy should be followed, this approach. So these topics should be integrated in the development of each of the pieces of the puzzle. And as a third layer, we then had the RAIN real life setting, we called it. So this is the environment where the project or the initiative should be working. So you have to be clear about the societal context, the social infrastructure in the region, the environment and climate conditions, the economic context in the regions. Then an important role was also the legal and institutional and political framework in the region, the technical infrastructure for sure, and also food security and safety should be considered in all the considerations of developing a business. Then to applicate this model, we said it could happen in 5 tasks. So to start, you should choose a RAIN core element, for example, visions and business ideas. And therefore, we had developed also some worksheets to implement or to integrate the worksheet, the real life setting, for example. And then we suggested different methods to elaborate on this special core element. So for each of these core elements, we have a certain number of methods. Then a third step would be to follow a kind of cycle. At first, for sure, you have to clarify the status quo. You have to set the goals, what you want to do, when, how. integrate the RAIN principles. There was also a worksheet for the RAIN principles. And then, of course, draft measures and specify responsibilities, timelines, and also then, not to forget, to rethink, restart, maybe evaluate the outcomes. So you should do this for every piece of the puzzle and summarize then all your findings. And in the end, you can choose the next puzzle, piece of the puzzle, and do it start again. And in the end, if you have all the puzzles, you have a nice business plan. So it was the idea behind it. Here is an example of kind of working sheets. It's very similar. I saw before in your presentations. Yes, for every pieces of the puzzles, we had certain working sheets. And then in the LIFRA project, this kind of approach was tested in the pilot regions. For example, in Austria and Czech Republic, it was about tourism and agrotourism. In Spain, it was about water supply, bio-waste. In France, about livestock production. We had also then pilot regions in Italy, Latvia, Portugal, in Slovenia, Tunisia, and Turkey. We have all this in a report, and it's too much time. It takes too much time to go to details. But if someone is interested about these certain pilot activities, I can give you the report. And the experience of all this was that, of course, it is a very big task to do the whole RAIN business model. So you cannot work on all the elements at once. It depends on the available money, on the time, and on the people who have at certain workshops. So it needs more workshops, and you have to invite different experts, different people to the different workshops. And the people said the RAIN model is good for regional development processes, but not easy to use. And the regional actors or the regional managers or moderators need a kind of training before. And as most important RAIN core elements have been seen, the management and financial aspects, and also the resources in the regions. These topics have been seen as crucial. And the challenge is to bring all elements in line with the funding programs. This was a very short outcome of the evaluation of this. And here I have some links for you. So this is my email address. If you're really interested, you can take a look at this. Then this is the web page of the live LIFRA project. I tried it before summer. It still worked. But now I tried it yesterday and it didn't work. So, and I wrote the coordinator of the project if this webpage will be still active, because they promised that also after finalizing the project, it should be active for some years. I tried to reactivate it somehow. And then here is yes, I mentioned this. Here on YouTube, you find a lot of videos they made for the different tools and also for the different regions. And then very similar to ATTRACTISS, a platform was developed, an interactive platform. Here are the links to this. I tried this. They work still, but somehow slowly, but you can find some content there. And it contains also some online courses, and you can explore the toolbox. It seems also very similar as you mentioned now, you presented before, but not so sophisticated, I think. But it is I don't know how many tools there are, and they are explained and structured for which activity you can use which tool. And also on our homepage, on our webpage, our own webpage, you can find some reports about this. All. Yes, that's all from my side. It looked very similar, like the activities you are doing, but of course it's some years already old. And I just want to say, if you look at on the internet, there are so many tools, methods, and everything. So it's really confusing.
Yeah.
And if you are not used to this, it's really hard to find the right tool for the right activity. So it's good to structure it somehow and to give some advice for people how to find a good method or good
That's indeed the
Mhm.
purpose of our ATTRACTISS Toolbox on the AKIS Connect platform.
Oh.
And also, I'm very glad that you present these links. I will certainly get in contact with you to further explore whether we can take some of your tools and methods onto our toolbox, as I said, the go-to place
Yes,
for
for
innovation
sure.
support.
I will forward it maybe to the former project coordinator. He is still more responsible to this than me.
I'll do. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. I can end my thing. Okay. Oh, sorry, did I put the wrong button now?
No worries, Klaus. We will open again the PowerPoint.
Sorry
no worries.
for this. It was red, so I pushed on it.
No, it's okay. I think it's now our colleague
Nele. Yep.
Nele. Yes.
Yes. Hello. I guess I'll need to forward a little bit here.
Yes.
Just a moment. Thank you for having the opportunity to talk about the tool DinnerHack. It's situated at the really beginning of the innovation process. If you think of the spiral that Melanie just presented. So actually, you're all, or I suppose, already working hard on finding solutions future-proof for farming in Europe. And like Klaus also introduced, we face like similar problems on profitability, sustainable farming, and often those solutions or the problem is complex. So we are also aware that the solutions won't only come from one perspective. So in short, the DinnerHack is actually finding specific realistic solutions for very complex problems where we use the perspective from different stakeholders. And we combine it with good food, which is then like an answer of or a solution for a good atmosphere, trust building, and we have very nice experiences with that. So I'm happy to show a little bit more. So what is a DinnerHack? It's in fact a co-creative networking event. I think that already rings a bell in many projects, but this I feel is a tool that is really effective in actually doing what it is saying or supposed to be doing. It's actually a workshop of 15 to 20 persons. It's about 5 hours, which can be organized during the day. We start before noon and end up early in the afternoon. That is very useful if you want to have dairy farmers, for example, who need to go milking in the morning and in the evening. If there are no dairy farmers involved, we think of options in the starting in the late or in the early evening and then end up around 9. The good thing is always that although we try to keep it short in 4 or 5 hours, we do see that people still hang around, enjoying the good atmosphere and building up the network with other enthusiasts who showed up to bring in knowledge and expertise to find solutions. So it's about informal exchange, it's about trust building, of course, about finding solutions, which I already mentioned many times, but also very important, it's about that good energy. It's a building up of energy between different people, and we see that it's also very crucial after the initial idea phase. If we want to try to implement those solutions, we still have that group that came together in a very informal setting, and they are always happy also afterwards to be to give feedback on the further steps, to think of a network, to think of specific actions that could really put that idea into practice. So the lineup, it's a dinner hack. So in fact, you can say it's a workshop, but in that way that each phase of the dinner, like coming together, the welcome drink, we actually also give work to the participants, so they start cooking together. You will see that in the pictures later on. But each phase of the dinner is linked to a specific aspect of such a brainstorm phase. So it's no rocket science here. Everybody who organized brainstorms will recognize you start with the problem analysis. We bring up experts, farmers who say this is actually the problem we want to solve. These are the barriers. These are the things we already try to do, but please help us to find new solutions today. And then the starter phase is about thinking of many ideas. Then towards the main course, we try to already construct some specific ideas we really want to dive into. And I forgot to say, from the starter phase, the bigger group is divided in smaller groups, which works better, and it's also good for the bonding and the trust, good trust between the members. So they explore in smaller groups specific roadways or roadmaps towards solutions. And then during dessert, every team which is present presents their ideas, their possible solution, which also gives the opportunity to share it with the group, get feedback, also work on that afterwards. And in the end, if everything goes well, we also organize a smart voting, which makes then clear what, as a whole, what the group thinks could be solutions that are impactful and also realistic to implement and in the future. So maybe some pictures. So you will see food, and that's normal. But the fun thing is, for example, one of the quite complex topics I'm working on for some years is how to build regional value chains with local protein-rich crops. We have expensive farms. Everything is expensive because we grow on a very small area in Flanders. We are very densely populated, so it's a very challenge for our farmers to grow these crops, which are actually bulk products coming in from everywhere. But still, they see opportunities because of biodiversity, and you know the background, I guess, with the legumes, all the benefits on the linked to biodiversity and sustainability. But the question is how to actually earn a living from that. We are entrepreneurs, so you see. In the beginning, we put everybody literally an apron on and say, okay, let's cut some vegetables together. And you see, it really is an icebreaker. People start to chat. We have a diverse group of, in this case, retailers, food processors, local chefs, and we really want to learn from them. If we are thinking of legumes, which kind of concepts in the market could create an added value and higher value, which make it possible for local farmers to actually have a better price than global market price. So how can we construct that idea? What could work in the market here in Flanders, let's say? So it's a very difficult question, but in this case, different groups started thinking of that. You see here in the middle the two farmers, those are dairy farmers, so we organized that during the day. And then you see here different groups working on ideas, experts who are also giving some perspectives in between. And finally, that day ended with 4 concepts, and one of the concepts was the idea of a bread where 10% of the flour wheat, the flour wheat, wheat flour, was replaced by faba bean, and that idea was then actually implemented later with the help also from the European project Crop Diva, and also the city of Ghent, which was also present. So not only professionals, chefs, and so on, also civil servants are happy to participate and look for opportunities to actually implement it later on in practice. There is a short video if you want to see that dinner hack in action. You can go to that maybe afterwards. Another dinner hack, so it was quite successful. So in the same European project Crop Diva, we organized another dinner hack during well, the early evening, outdoors. It was June, very nice outdoor setting. We started that day also with going to the fields, which also gives insights to retailers, chefs, breeders, everyone who is wanting to participate in this workshop, to actually start from the field. That's always very making a good impression, or how triggering ideas, let's say it like that. So again, the same lineup that I just explained. You see people in the start all together with the aprons on, then they are divided into small groups. Experts, or like here a food processor, was also sharing their perspectives and experiences. And then you see the farmer here, which is Luc. Also that day ended up with 4 ideas, from which one idea was voted as the best, and the idea was like a hybrid meat burger with half meat from pork, or meat in general, and half legumes. And this is actually being solved now at the farm shop of that farmer. The implementation of this, we looked for funding in a leader project. We first tried EIP, but we weren't successful there. But then, because also the province of East Flanders was present at the dinner hack, they also really liked the idea. And so they were very supportive also to look for means within leader. So yeah, with the goal of also supporting rural areas, agro-biodiversity, and so on. Also, a small a link to a video concerning that duo burger, we call it, because it sounds more tasty than hybrid meats. And then a last one, I hope I don't run out of time too much. No. This is the most recent dinner hack that we organized. Again, the question was similar, but then linked to the growing of edible flowers. So growing edible flowers, I don't think the picture needs much of an explanation. It really is a boost for local agro-biodiversity. Only, as you remember, our space is limited in Flanders. So if farmers want to grow this, they can't grow another crop which might be more profitable. So if we want to grow those flowers, we should think of concepts again in the market that create a value for that. So which processed goods or foods are possible in the market based on those edible flowers that generate a market for that? That was a question here. And I wasn't able to put all the nice pictures on one slide, so I made 2 slides of this. But again, you see a little bit of the same of lineup. We started in the field. We brought, again, retailers, chefs, food marketeers, researchers, civil servants, experts in food forests, and so on, together in that field on that very nice day. Brainstorm started. We had the final discussion at the end, and also very nice. The food was very impressive. We had a very good cook, which, yeah, it was really a blast. And in the right, you see also the cold tea based on those flowers. Also, there new ideas came out, which are still needed to need some implementation here. But it, yeah, different ideas came up to diversify the application of edible flowers, because until now we have flower tea. This is it. This is already on the market, but we would like to broaden the applications of edible flowers and many, many other nice products. So I hope this was quite clear, and I'm happy to receive questions if there are.
This is so cool. I love this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. I don't see any questions in the chat right away. But if anyone has one, just raise your hand. Also for Klaus, if there was any questions or comments, and you can also now ask those or to put in the chat as you like. But yeah, looks both of the cases sounds very interesting and inspirational. For Neil, I wanted to myself ask one question, like, do you see a possibility to kind of apply this concept in other than food-related topics? Kind of, I mean, it can be somehow food-related, but not anyhow like a project, like a food development on that side. So just for some kind of other developing issues or something like that.
Yes, there were also dinner hacks already in the past concerning food waste and how to find solutions for that. Because the difficult thing for farmers is that they know a lot about what they can produce, but the link to the consumer and the market is like far and it's not clear. So it's every challenge where the farmer depends on, he needs some perspective further on and he misses that perspective. You can look for who is actually close to the final end user and bring in that perspective to the farmer. And also then activate that different stakeholder to actually also take the necessary steps to find solutions together with the farmer. So it's a really together thing. And the issue of the energy that is needed to build then the solution, I think it's applicable for many other cases. The challenge is to very formulate the hack very clear. I think that's maybe the most difficult thing of this dinner hack. What is the question we want to solve? But I'm there. If somebody is thinking of this kind of concept, I'm always available to give feedback on that.
Thanks. Karin, you had raise your hand. You had a comment?
Yes, thank you for this interesting presentations. I have a questions concerning the group. So how did you choose the participants? You mentioned that maybe the consumer are very important to bring in ideas for solutions. So could they just register, or did you have a personal talk to the individuals? Thank you.
Yes, that's actually a very good question. And maybe I forgot to bring this up, but if we organize a dinner hack, we often do that with other partners who also have like different perspectives in the case. So in projects, it's quite clear you have the project partners, and then you start to think, who do we want to be here? Like categories. We want a chef, we want a retailer, and then the question is, who knows who? Who can we activate? I do prefer to actively contact people rather than send like a link online to register for everyone, because you often have people interested in a team and all perspectives are valuable, but it's less manageable to actually have the different perspectives there. You can tackle this if you have an open link to register, to say like, please, if you're interested, do applicate. And then we will let you know that you're eligible or that we do think you can play a role here. So often that's a combination of targeted questions, and if we don't see, we see the group filling up early enough, you might open it up, but then with the message, please applicate, do explain a little bit what you think you can bring in, which kind of knowledge, and then we really make a puzzle. Also in building the different teams, we really think of every, we have different perspectives around the table. We won't have a table with only farmers, for example. We'll have one farmer at each table, and one chef and one retailer. So very diversified groups.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, and I saw a comment from Hanna from Estonia that also there the soil mission is promoting method with the high-end dinner. Also solve some problems to understand the link between the soil and food. So that's another dinner hack applied in Estonia. Thanks for sharing. And Anna, you had a question to Klaus. You wanna share it now?
Yeah, I thought that his comment around the fact that sometimes it's really hard to, because you create all these business models and everything, and then all of a sudden you're sort of like faced with the realities of funding and how different it is. So can you integrate the funding into the whole process of doing the rain, or do you keep it in the back of your head, or how do you approach it, especially in these projects where governmental funding or EU funding ends up being really crucial?
Yes, we tried to integrate it from the beginning. So the whole idea of the RAIN concept was to integrate as much people or experts just from the beginning. Also, the consumers should be integrated, and also experts for regional management who know about the funding and so on. So not to ask them at the end of some development, but to integrate them from the beginning as far as possible. It's time consuming, and not all people are willing to take part in so many workshops always. So you need to be careful about this.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay, we have one more testimony. So,
yes, and I'm going to present that. Thank you very much. I hope you can see the slides. I am going to curse a lot in the following few minutes because I'm going to talk about the so-called fuck-up meetings, fuck-up nights, or failure nights. But first of all, a short introduction. Who am I and what am I doing here? My name is Marcus. I work at the Chamber of Agriculture as an innovation support service for EIP operational groups. We are based in Rendsburg, which is right in the middle or in between Hamburg and the Danish border, so in the very northern part of Germany. And there are some certain stereotypes about people from northern Germany. And one stereotype is that people from northern Germany don't like to talk that much. And others make fun of that. For example, in this figure, if you do understand German, you will probably get it. If not, it doesn't matter. This is basically a whole conversation for and very typical for people from northern Germany. And it includes everything we like to talk about, which is basically not that much. And what we don't like even more is to talk about failures. And I will tell you why this is a problem and why you should definitely would want to do so. And therefore we need to jump back. Wait a second. Yes, that's not the right slide. That is the right slide. So what are fuck-up meetings? The concept is not new. It started basically more than 10 years ago and came from a group of entrepreneurs from Mexico City. And they realized that the most professional events, especially in the economic sector, were about success stories, while failures were mostly ignored. But if you have in mind that only 10% of the startups we see today are successful, 90% are not successful, we only see the 10%. And they thought this might not be too good. And their idea was that they organized an informal event or informal events where exactly these entrepreneurs from the 90% shared their biggest business failures in front of an audience. And the format was clear, it was storytelling. So they they explained what they tried, what they wanted to do, and what went wrong, what they learned from it, and what others could also learn from their own cases and avoid the same mistakes. And this idea quickly spread worldwide, and the so-called fuck-up nights, so huge events where you meet in the evening, have speakers who tell their stories, that pretty much became a global movement and spreading over 300 cities and more than 90 countries worldwide. And also organizations adapted the idea internally, calling them so-called fuck-up meetings. So informal meetings where they meet in the team, create a safe space for employees, and also to share their mistakes, and their learnings. Why are they valuable? Well, basically, you see some cultural benefits. You create a culture of openness, that people feel safe to admit when something went wrong. It reduces the stigma of failure. It prevents hiding problems that could otherwise grow worse. And also it strengthens the psychological safety of the employees. So employees are more likely to speak up and share their ideas. It also has some learning and innovation benefits that are very important to acknowledge, because it turns mistakes into collective knowledge, not just individual knowledge, but collective knowledge. And the hope is that you have fewer repeated errors within a team, a group, or an ecosystem. And it increases the adaptability. So the teams learn faster and become more resilient, because every one of them is confronted with more mistakes than they themselves do, and you not only learn from your own mistakes, but you also learn the mistakes from others. And also within the team, it has organizational benefits. So it builds trust between people. Failures are shared and not hidden. And I don't know about you, but it's always easier to speak about success than to speak about failures. And this also increases the trust within teams. And also improves, of course, the problem-solving skills, because failures are tackled in a more constructive way and are not filled with shame. And there are lots of examples of these in practice, not only in economy, but also in politics. So, for example, the fuck-up nights for democracies, where politicians speak about their career paths and their hiccups within their past, their biggest failures. This is a format which has been in practice in the federal state where I live in. Of course, in economy, there's a lot of examples, not only in Germany, but I've cited a few here, for example, in Hamburg, in Berlin, in Leipzig, in the Ruhr area, in Essen. And I also discovered that there is a podcast with obviously more than 15 episodes about the fuck-up night in Berlin. So you might want to check it out. But also in science, it becomes more and more popular to speak not about the success stories in science, but also about the failures. And I discovered also, or I came across a TV series in the German national TV, where I really recommend to watch the series, by the way, where also entrepreneurs share their stories within a short document series. Huge recommendation. If you understand German, make sure to watch it. But what about agriculture? And I have to admit, it wasn't easy to find examples. But I brought you one from what we did last year. This is a picture from an event we hosted last year. It was the kickoff event for new EIP projects. And we gathered all the EIP projects who got their funding at that period of time. And we also invited a few experienced project partners from finished EIP projects. And we got them up on stage and asked them what they learned, not only their success stories, what they did right and what their results was, but also what mistakes they made and what they did learn from it and what they wanted to share with the new project partners. And this was an event or a format that was highly acknowledged, and I would also say that I see fewer repeated errors in my daily work since we've done that. So I see this also as a huge win for everybody. And I would also like to share some practical suggestions if you want to implement something within your organization or within an event. And first of all, of course, keep it informal, keep it friendly, and keep it voluntarily. Don't force anyone to talk about things they don't want to talk about, or don't force them to share things that they don't want to share. And second, of course, focus on lessons learned and don't blame anyone for doing mistakes. Mistakes happen to everyone, but the important thing is that we learn from them. So focus on the lessons learned and not the blame. And start with small groups, start with trusted people where there's already trust within a group maybe. Don't try to change the world in one day. So start small, make it a regular habit, and yeah, lead by example by sharing your own mistakes so others can follow. And maybe in the future, your agendas for a day look like this, where you have a meeting some day in the morning maybe and talk about your monthly fuck-ups for within your team, because it always comes down to sometimes you win and sometimes you learn, even in short conversations. Thank you very much. Yes, Melanie, you have a question.
Yes, I really like this this method. I was just wondering, because when you mentioned the title "Fuck Up Nights," it seems like a fun night where people share all the things that went wrong. But I can also imagine when you do this for the first time with farmers, then when people tell about their negative experience, or the atmosphere might also, how do you say that, drown a bit or go down. How was it in your case, and what do you think you can do to keep up this positive atmosphere?
That's a good question. I would say start small and don't make it all about failures at the beginning. This was just a small, one part in the agenda. So it wasn't just an event where we only talked about bad things, basically. And you can always so, like, if you have a huge agenda, I remember a huge event which took place last year, and there was one farmer who got up on stage and spoke about, in front of 150 people, about his journey and his farm, and they tried to make their own cheese, and that eventually failed because it wasn't profitable. But he stood there and he explained why they wanted to do this and why they tried that, and what mistakes they made, and why it, in the end, did not work out the way they intended. And this was also highly acknowledged, and a lot of people afterwards said, wow, that was so brave of him to talk about that, because it's not an easy thing to admit if you do something which didn't work out, what's not profitable in the end. But to keep and there's always this turn in the end. Yes, that did not work too well, but I learned. And this but, that's the important part. And if you focus on the but, I never said I thought that I'd say things like that. If you focus on the but I learned, that's the thing that keeps the positive spirit. in such an event.
Okay, thank you so much. Good answer. I think I need to go next. Can somebody please open the presentation again?
I think you can take over control,
okay.
Melanie.
I got it. Yes.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you very much, Marcus and Nele and Klaus, for the very diverse testimonies for tools and methods. I'm already thinking about ways how to implement those with groups of farmers. I don't know if there are any other questions for Marcus. Forgot to ask. Not yet.
Not in the chat, at least. But if anyone has one, please raise your hand and open a microphone. Doesn't seem like.
No. Okay. Then maybe our call to action to all the participants here. It's a call to validate, on the one hand, the toolbox. So as Marleen said, there are now about 80 tools in the toolbox. And we would like to know from you three things. Is it user-friendly? Can you easily navigate it? Can you easily find what you were looking for? Is there a tool that you already used that is in the toolbox? And can you perhaps give us some more feedback about it? And if you would like to test a tool or method in the toolbox and you want some support from us, please let us, Marleen or I, know. But then, of course, so there's 80 now in the toolbox. When we're all finished, I think we have achieved the 100 tools and methods that we were supposed to do at least. But there's always room for more tools and methods in this toolbox. And so if you know one that is not yet in our toolbox, please contact us and send us some information. I think that's it for me. Thank you very much. I hope we will receive your contributions. And I give it back to Maria and Anna.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, all of the speakers. So we have only a few slides more. Any more questions, first of all? There was plenty of interesting examples and introductions. So if now it's the time to ask if you have anything in your mind. Of course, you can reach out our speakers also later on if something pops up in the mind afterwards. But if not, for now, I will like to ask a bit of feedback from you. Also for the webinar, so it will be quick and short, hopefully, and it will pop up here. Can everyone see it, or can somebody say that it's opening?
Yeah, it's there. So you have to, I think that everybody just needs to go to the chat and pop on that start poly and it should pop up.
Actually, this one still.
At least on my side, it seems to be working.
Okay, perfect.
Sorry. Yeah, you have to ask for permission, but it seems to go automatically.
Okay. So just, we will really very much appreciate if you can quickly just give us some feedback and tell us your ideas and some needs for the following webinars. Which brings me to the topic of the next webinar already. I will tell in between hopefully it will not disturb the answering the questions too much. But so the next webinar will take place in the 15th of October, so pretty much a month from now. The time is always the same, from 10 to 11:30 in Central European time. And there we will hear about the knowledge and innovation systems driving the organic farming forward. So this will be hosted by our sister project, modernAKIS. And they will explore how the AKIS can strengthen the organic farming in Europe and motivate the farmers, but also to change to the organic farming, but also those who are already doing it. So how to support them in their journey in the organic farming. So there will be again some very interesting showcases on the approaches that have been found and explored, and also some kind of good examples of the achievements that have been done throughout the supporting activities. So that will be our upcoming webinar in 1 month. So please stay tuned and visit our website, AKIS Connect, regularly, of course. It's good to go there time to time to check what's happening in other also things than the webinars. And yes, I don't know, do we have something else to add, Anna?
I think the only thing to add is, as Marlene and Melanie were mentioning, we will send all the links and all the relevant information from today in a follow-up email. So don't worry if you're super interested in something but you don't get the link. No worries, it's going to be sent afterwards. And the other thing is just to invite you to keep an eye on the events page of the AKIS Connect platform, because that's where we put all the information. Things are going to be happening. Things like the trainings, for example, if anybody's interested, we will be running a new 2-day workshop training in probably March in Italy, which is not bad, which is a really good place to actually test all these tools, test all these ideas in a safe space where you can actually, like Marcus was saying, explore how to fail safely. So that's really good. And just to thank everyone to be here. So that's pretty much it. Maria, I'll give it back to you to do the closing honors.
Okay, thanks, Anna. And yeah, thanks everyone for joining us today. I will leave the poll still open if somebody wants to still answer the questions. But otherwise, I think we are done. Thanks everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.